All right, to show you in map form how far the Axis powers got here. So let's realize they never get Great Britain. You can see how far they get into the Soviet Union. They never fully get Leningrad. They never get Moscow, and they get stopped at Stalingrad. But they basically have the rest of Europe. Vichy France is a complete puppet government that the Germans have put in place. They're down in Algeria. They're basically occupying most of northern Africa, and there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on in terms of the Axis powers got a long, long ways. You're looking that the Allied powers are gonna have to figure out a way in when the rest of Europe is basically conquered. Okay, one thing to note here, allied with Germany, Finland, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, they're allied with Germany mainly because they don't like the Soviet Union and they are going to go take the opposite side of the Soviet Union. Also sides. The European theater, basically where as far as the Axis powers are going to get. How about now, let's go to the Pacific side of things. Japan, remember, has conquered Manchuria and most of China by 1937, and then they're going to start to make their move for the rest of Asia. Okay, Vichy France, remember in Vichy France, which the Germans are completely in charge of, had given, and they give them their Asian colonies, basically Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. At this point, the U.S. is going to freeze the assets of anything Japanese in the United States. They're going to embargo Japanese oil. They're going to put tons of economic pressures on them, but it doesn't work. Hideki Tojo is going to start working his war machine. He gets it going, and he hopes to conquer Southeast Asia. He wants to basically make a huge defense perimeter so the Allies can't attack Japanese land. The Japanese are going to bring the U.S. into the war on December 7th, 1941. The U.S. Navy was basically all in Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, and the Navy is essentially completely destroyed there. It was a surprise attack. It was 350 Japanese bomber torpedoes in 2 waves, and it was not basically completely crippling of our Navy. And so the ability to fight against the Japanese in the Pacific isn't very good because we don't have a way to do it right after Pearl Harbor because all of our ships have been destroyed. If you think about the Soviet Union signed a non-aggression pact with the Japanese, besides that, they're dealing with all of their problems, Leningrad and Stalingrad back in the western side of Russia. So Japan basically has free run over things. They're going to take Philippines, Guam, Wake Islands, Midway, Hong Kong, Thailand, British Malay, Borneo, Burma, the British East Indies, the Aleutian Islands, and they want Asians for Asia. Or, I'm sorry, Asians in Asia. Asia for Asians. They take a term from the Romans. They want to try to make the Pacific Ocean a Japanese lake. Now this has opened up now 2 theaters of war. The Axis powers you can see here of where they have gotten in the Pacific or on the Asian side of things. Their furthest advance is anything here in the purple. They never get to Australia. And that will be important later. By sheer mileage, they do take over more land than what the Europeans did. Surface area of the Earth. Obviously, by land, though, it's not even close. The U.S. had basically retreated out of anything in here, and they will retreat down to Australia and hold out because they knew they were in trouble because they would not be able to fight back against the Japanese yet. So, key turning points on this side of things. We're not there yet. The Japanese Navy is going to get destroyed later at the Battle of Midway. Some of the most vicious fighting of this war is going to be down here in the Battle of the Coral Sea. Just an incredibly brutal battle. The Bataan Death March is going to happen over here, which you can read about in your book. But, I mean, it's a brutal war. So, quick review. You can see here the Axis powers have basically conquered a good amount of the Asian part that they wanted to. The Axis powers have gone a long ways in, but Great Britain has held out and the Soviet Union has held out, and in the Pacific side of things, the U.S. has retreated enough and it held out enough that the Japanese cannot conquer everything.